countries, they once rolled out the red carpet for Americans. But now, one by one, powerful nations are rolling up the welcome mat. Borders are being shut. Agreements are being canceled. And U.S. citizens are being forced out. What's behind this sudden hostility? Is it politics, power plays, or payback? From military exits to visa bans. Something major is unfolding, and Americans are caught right in the middle. These aren't failing states or fringe regimes. These are global players making bold, strategic moves. If you thought your passport was a golden ticket, think again. Because we dive into the 10 countries kicking out Americans and what this means for the future. Let's get started. Number 10. Niger. Something shocking just went down in Africa, and the Pentagon didn't see it coming. Niger has officially told U.S. troops to leave. No negotiations, no delays. The same nation that once welcomed over 1,000 American soldiers for counterterrorism missions is now flipping the script. In March 2024, Niger's military-led government revoked a key defense agreement, branding the U.S. presence on its soil as illegal. And just like that, everything changed. This wasn't some drawn-out diplomatic dispute. It was swift, bold, and decisive. So what sparked it? Rising distrust of foreign influence, new strategic alliances, and a growing desire for sovereignty. But here's what makes it even more intense. Niger isn't at war with the U.S. This move isn't about hostility. It's about independence and the shrinking footprint of American power in regions once considered rock-solid allies. Now, here's the real question. If Niger can do it, who's next? Could this be the start of a global trend where nations push back against U.S. military presence? We're only scratching the surface. The next country on this list? It's bigger, stronger, and making even louder moves to send Washington packing. Number 9. Russia. The warning signs were hard to ignore. Tighter visa rules, shuttered consulates, endless waves of sanctions. But by 2023 and 2024, Russia sent a message loud and clear. Americans are no longer welcome like they once were. From journalists being detained to diplomats expelled and U.S.-linked NGOs outright banned, it's a chilling new reality. You'd think it's a throwback to the Cold War, but this is a new, more strategic confrontation. The shift didn't happen overnight. Back in 2017, Russia cut over 700 American diplomatic staff in one swoop, and since then, the situation has only intensified. Today, even tourists face interrogations, and travelers are being scrutinized like never before. What's behind the curtain? Part of it is geopolitics, but this is also about control and reshaping global narratives. The alarming part? How fast these changes took root, mostly outside the media spotlight. This isn't just about icy relations. It's about America's shrinking global influence. A country once buzzing with American companies, students, and NGOs has become a cold, calculated environment for U.S. presence. But we're not done yet. The next country on this list? It's even more deeply tied to U.S. business, tech, and education, and yet it's rapidly closing its doors. Number 8. China. China, once a thriving hub of opportunity, global business, prestigious universities, and limitless connections, has dramatically shifted. The once welcoming atmosphere now carries layers of suspicion, surveillance, and abrupt restrictions for Americans. This shift hasn't been immediate, but over the past few years, U.S.-China relations have deteriorated to the point where even carrying an American passport can make you a target. Major companies like Microsoft and LinkedIn have reduced operations, educational exchange programs have been slashed, and some U.S. citizens have been placed under exit bans without explanation. These restrictions are not limited to tourists. They apply to professors, CEOs, students, and even journalists. While national security is often cited as the official reason, the underlying cause is an increasing mistrust, with Americans being viewed through a political lens. A student can be questioned, or an executive detained over a trade dispute. What does that mean for everyday travelers, business people, or those visiting family? The real concern now? Digital surveillance, strict visa regulations, even cultural exchanges are under watch. Despite these tensions, China remains deeply entwined with the U.S. economy. So, with the tension mounting and these ties still in place, are we on the brink of a complete shutdown? Or is this just a warning? Stay tuned, the next global shift might hit even closer to home. Number 7. Iran. Iran is a nation of rich history and culture, but today, it's also one of the most dangerous places an American can visit. There are no second chances, and sometimes no way out. For years, Iran has stood at odds with the U.S. politically. But recently, it's become far more personal. Americans, tourists, dual nationals, even aid workers have been detained on vague or undisclosed charges, often without trial and sometimes for years. It's not just headlines. It's happening to everyday people. The U.S. State Department has issued its highest-level warning: do not travel. Why? Because once you're in, there's almost nothing the U.S. can do if you're detained. Why is this happening? Because in Iran, Americans aren't viewed as just individuals. They are seen as extensions of U.S. foreign policy. This means that whatever tensions exist between the U.S. and Iran are often projected directly onto American citizens. A simple political disagreement between the two countries can put any American citizen at risk, regardless of whether they are involved in any political activities. Even something as benign as a family visit can trigger suspicion, and Americans are often detained simply because their nationality makes them a target. This isn't just about Iran. It's about a growing global trend where average citizens are caught in the crossfire of politics. If Americans can be treated as government proxies in Iran, what about other high-risk nations? And now it gets even more serious. The next country on our list takes surveillance, control, and hostility to a whole new level. Number 6, North Korea. You won't see North Korea on travel blogs or dream vacation lists, for good reason. For Americans, it may be the most dangerous country on the planet. There's no U.S. embassy, no diplomatic safety net, and once you're in, you're completely at the mercy of the regime. American tourists have been detained for things as minor as taking photos, speaking out of turn, or allegedly removing propaganda posters. In recent years, one U.S. student paid the ultimate price after being sentenced to 15 years of hard labor. He never came home. This incident changed the U.S. travel policies, and they issued a Level 4 do not travel advisory and legally restricts Americans from entering North Korea without special approval. From the moment you land, you're not just watched, you're tracked, monitored, and controlled. Your movements are restricted, your conversations are likely recorded, and your guides report everything back to the authorities. There is no privacy and no margin for error. Even the slightest misstep can be seen as a threat to the regime and result in imprisonment. The risk isn't just that you might break a rule, it's that the rules can change at any moment or be interpreted in a way that suits the regime's needs. North Korea has a long history of using detained foreigners, especially Americans, as political pawns during international tensions. Even accidental entry or innocent curiosity could turn into a life-altering mistake. In North Korea, you don't decide when you leave, they do. And sometimes, you may not leave at all. Number 5, Turkey. Turkey was once a dream destination, where East met West, and millions of tourists wandered through ancient ruins, buzzing bazaars, and stunning coastlines. But in recent years, things have changed, especially for Americans. The political climate has become tense, and for U.S. citizens, the risks are no longer hypothetical. Detentions of Americans in Turkey have become disturbingly frequent, not for breaking laws, but for vague accusations like suspicion, association, or simply being in the wrong place at the wrong time. One high-profile case involved an American pastor detained for nearly 2 years without formal charges. His arrest triggered a diplomatic standoff between Washington and Ankara. And he's not alone. Journalists, aid workers, and even casual tourists have faced interrogation, surveillance, and denied entry. It's not just individuals at risk. American-linked businesses and non-profit organizations have faced closures, investigations, and growing hostility. As tensions rise between the U.S. and Turkey, American presence is increasingly viewed through a lens of suspicion. The Turkish government has openly accused U.S.-affiliated groups of inciting unrest, fueling a politically charged environment where scrutiny is constant and rights are uncertain. The U.S. State Department now advises Americans to exercise extreme caution in Turkey. That's a serious warning, signaling that the country once known for hospitality is no longer predictable. What was safe yesterday may not be safe today. The political climate is shifting fast, and Americans could find themselves caught in a web of surveillance, suspicion, and strained diplomacy. So before you pack your bags, ask yourself, is this a trip worth the risk? Number 4, Venezuela. Venezuela, once a powerhouse oil exporter with strong ties to the U.S., has quickly become one of the most perilous places for American citizens. In a country that used to be a popular destination for tourists and business professionals, Americans now find themselves in increasingly dangerous territory. You might be checking into a hotel one moment, and the next, you're on a watch list, under surveillance, or even facing detention. The U.S. shut down its embassy operations in Caracas back in 2019 due to severe safety concerns, leaving American nationals stranded without consular support. If anything happens to you there now, you're completely on your own. The dangers go far beyond lack of embassy protection. Americans, particularly dual citizens or those involved in media, aid work, or the energy sector, are increasingly vulnerable. Arbitrary detentions have become all too common, with accusations of espionage, conspiracy, or sabotage often thrown without clear evidence. What's even more shocking is that flights between the U.S. and Venezuela have been suspended due to safety concerns. The relationship between the two countries is strained to the point where travel itself is dangerous. Despite this, many people continue to travel to Venezuela. Some have family there, others may be working in business or humanitarian aid. But every day that passes, the risks grow. Venezuela's rapid transformation from a thriving country with deep connections to the U.S. to a volatile, closed-off state is a clear warning to American citizens. The line between visitor and political pawn is fast disappearing. Even the most innocent of visits could quickly spiral into something far more dangerous. Number 3, Cuba. Cuba, the island that's closer than you think, but harder than ever to visit. Cuba might sit just 90 miles off the coast of Florida, but for Americans, it might as well be another world. But for Americans, visiting Cuba is not simple. While it may look like a Caribbean paradise, Cuba is entangled in decades of political tension, sanctions, and travel restrictions that make it one of the most complicated destinations for U.S. citizens. That's right, Americans can't legally travel to Cuba for tourism. To go, you must qualify under one of a dozen tightly regulated categories: education, humanitarian work, journalism, or family visits. But even if you check a box, the real challenge begins once you land. Over in Cuba, Americans are also under scrutiny. The U.S. Embassy in Havana was drastically downsized after a series of mysterious health incidents among diplomats. Some dubbed it Havana Syndrome. That means fewer visas, limited help in emergencies, and almost no support on the ground. Even financial transactions are a headache. U.S. credit and debit cards often don't work in Cuba, forcing travelers to rely on cash, while navigating an economy constrained by strict U.S. sanctions. And don't forget, Cuba is still listed as a state sponsor of terrorism by the U.S. government. That label alone brings a shadow of caution to any American presence there. One misunderstanding, one flagged itinerary, or one unexpected question from authorities, and your dream vacation could spiral into a diplomatic nightmare. In Cuba, every move matters, and one misstep could change your trip entirely. Number 2, Afghanistan. There are places where danger is expected, but in Afghanistan, danger doesn't wait. It finds you. Since the U.S. withdrawal in 2021, Afghanistan has become one of the most dangerous and restricted places on Earth for American citizens. The U.S. Embassy is closed. There is no American diplomatic presence in the country. That means no consular help, no evacuation plan, and no protection if something goes wrong. The Taliban now controls the government, and U.S. passports are viewed with suspicion and hostility. Any American who enters, whether for humanitarian work or personal reasons, is at serious risk of violence, kidnapping, or wrongful detention. Even local contacts that were once considered reliable can no longer be trusted. The entire safety structure for Americans has vanished. This is not just a post-conflict zone. It's a black hole for American safety, where the U.S. government has no ability to intervene. If you get into trouble, there's no one coming to help. Would you risk entering a place where the government that issued your passport can't protect you? For Americans, Afghanistan isn't just unsafe, it's a black hole for security. Number 1, Belarus. Belarus, Europe's silent danger zone. Blink, and you might miss how fast things are unraveling in Belarus, one of the most hostile environments for Americans in Europe today. While it rarely dominates headlines, this former Soviet state has quietly become a red alert zone for U.S. citizens. Tensions between the U.S. and Belarus have plunged to new lows, with the Belarusian government ramping up surveillance and cracking down on any Western influence. U.S. diplomats have been expelled, non-governmental organizations with American ties shut down, and independent journalists, many of them U.S. citizens, have been detained or interrogated. Even ordinary travelers are subject to random searches, questioning, and unexplained detentions. There's no need to commit a crime. Suspicion alone is enough. Belarus's tight alliance with Russia has only intensified its anti-Western stance, mirroring Moscow's hostility toward Americans. For those thinking about visiting, the message from the U.S. government is crystal clear: don't go. This isn't just a travel advisory, it's a warning. Belarus is no longer a gray area. It's a place where American citizens can disappear into a system with no accountability and no way out. We've just revealed 10 powerful countries where Americans are facing increasing risks of being expelled, or worse. These nations aren't simply shifting their policies, they're fundamentally altering the environment for U.S. citizens. If you found this video eye-opening, make sure to hit that subscribe button, give us a like, and share it with your friends. Help spread the word so more people understand the growing risks, tensions, and the true situation happening across the globe. Don't forget to click the notification bell to stay updated on our upcoming videos. Thanks for watching.